When Amelia married Lucas, he was 22 and she was 32. He was not only older in age, but also in other aspects. 3 years into their marriage, he showered her with endless tenderness, granting her every wish, ready to pluck stars or moons from the sky, spoiling her like a treasure. The only exception was his insatiable demands every night, where she would cry and beg for mercy, yet he would just chuckle and refuse to stop. She knew he had vast wealth and deep love, all belonging to her. Until the day her father died. She called him 99 times, but he ignored every call. Then she received photos from her best friend. "Is this your uncle?" "I saw him hugging a woman on the streets of Paris." Opening the photos, she felt as if plunged into an ice cave. The man was him, and the woman was her Aunt Claire. 3 days after Joe's father's death, Lucas finally came home. Opening the door, he saw Amelia on the sofa, her eyes red and wearied, her figure frail and lonely. His guilt peaked as he rushed to embrace her. "Amelia, I flew to Paris for a last-minute meeting. The time difference made me miss your calls, so I couldn't attend the funeral. It's my fault. What compensation do you want?" "I'll give you anything." Amelia listened to his explanation in silence, her face as still as stagnant water. She wordlessly took out 2 documents from her bag, opened to the last page, and handed them to him. "Uncle, I want these 2 things. Sign them." Lucas sighed in relief, quickly signing his name. Seeing his unhesitating action, Amelia's eyes reddened. "You didn't even look. Aren't you afraid what I'm asking for is expensive?" Lucas pulled her into his arms. "We're husband and wife. My things are already yours. When the baby is born, they'll belong to you both. You can have anything you want, understand?" He leaned down to listen to their baby's movements. "Is today the prenatal checkup? Is the baby restless? Let me go with you." Amelia stayed silent, neither agreeing nor refusing. Lucas took it as consent and helped her into the car. The car ride was stiflingly quiet. Before Lucas could find a topic, his phone rang. "Lucas, I'm back in the country. I want to see you. We're nearby." Amelia recognized Claire's voice clearly. Her hands tensed, only to watch Lucas hang up. "Amelia, I have some work to handle. Can you go to the checkup alone?" She didn't expose his lie, stepping out into the cold wind to hail a taxi. Memories flooded back with the passing street scenery. Years ago, Amelia had been in a car accident. The driver fled, and passers-by feared involvement, leaving her bleeding profusely. Lucas, passing by, had carried her to safety like a godsend. That day, she fell in love at first sight with the man 10 years her senior. Luckily, the mature and steady Lucas loved her too. They married after a year of dating. Perhaps due to his age, he had endless patience. They never quarreled, never missed a gift or anniversary, and he always considered her feelings except in bed. She couldn't understand why, at 30, he still had such stamina. Many nights, she'd sob and beg him to stop, but he'd just kiss her and say, "My little fool, I do this because I love you. The more we try, the sooner we'll have our little baby." Thus, her belly swelled night after night, and she finally became pregnant in their 3rd year. 3 days prior, Joe's father had suffered a sudden stroke. Rushing to his side, Amelia heard her father murmuring Lucas's name, asking when his son-in-law would come. Everyone knew he wanted to entrust his daughter to Lucas before dying, so they all tried contacting him. Amelia had even crashed her phone from overuse, but Lucas never answered. Joe's father died with regret and resentment. Amelia had assumed he was busy until she finished arranging the funeral and received her friend's photo. She couldn't fathom why her husband was embracing her aunt. In a daze, she mustered the courage to enter Lucas's study, a room he'd never allowed her to enter. The sight inside froze her blood. Walls covered in Claire's photos, carefully preserved love letters, countless unsent gifts, and a thick, ongoing love diary. Through it, Amelia learned the truth. Lucas had only been in two relationships, one with her and one with Claire. They'd been campus sweethearts, dating passionately for a decade. They'd crossed the Atlantic together, trekked through the Amazon, and kissed intimately under snow-capped mountains at sunrise. In their darkest moments, he'd smashed millions of dollars worth of jewelry for her, humbled himself to chase her abroad after the breakup, and even drunk himself into stomach bleeding upon hearing of her new relationship. His entire pre-marriage life had revolved around Claire. Their relationship, Amelia realized, was merely Lucas's attempt to find a substitute for Claire after their breakup. Her face resembled her aunt's too closely. He'd even staged the hit-and-run accident to make her fall for him. Every night of passion had been the effort to impregnate her, not with his child, but one who resembled Claire. The truth struck like lightning. His tenderness, his love, his sincerity, all fake. He'd deceived her completely. Though younger, Amelia knew one must clean their heart before letting someone new in, and she was no one's substitute. She was Amelia, unique and irreplaceable. Yet from the start, he'd lied. So she'd lied back. She hadn't told him the documents were a divorce agreement and an abortion consent form. She wasn't a placeholder. She wouldn't keep a man who didn't love her. At the hospital, Amelia handed the abortion consent to the doctor. "I want to terminate the pregnancy." 3 hours later, she returned home, clutching her abdomen. Gazing at her pale reflection, she applied lipstick to mask her exhaustion, though cold sweat still dampened her clothes from the pain. Wrapped in a blanket on the sofa, she called the housekeeper. "Pack all the jewelry in bags from the display cabinets and send them to an auction house. Donate the proceeds to poverty-stricken mountain areas." Just then, Lucas entered and froze. "Why sell these suddenly?" Amelia avoided his gaze. "I don't like them anymore. Donating them will bring good karma for the baby." Luckily, Lucas didn't question further, hugging her gently. "All right. I'll take you to an auction in a few days. You can pick new favorites and we'll refill the cabinets, okay?" She didn't respond, changing the subject. "Is your work done?" "Yes. I know you've been through a lot. I'll stay home with you and the baby for the next week, okay?" He reached to touch her belly, frowning slightly at its smaller size. Before he could ask, Amelia's phone rang. "Uncle," displayed on the screen. "Your aunt returned from abroad yesterday. We're having a family dinner at the old mansion. Will you come?" "I'm not feeling well." Before she could finish, Lucas took the phone. "We'll be there on time." Watching his eagerness, Amelia felt a pang, recalling the 99 unanswered calls on her father's death day. For someone truly loved, he'd seize every meeting, heedless of her grief or loss. He simply followed his heart to love and pursue. After hanging up, Lucas noticed her expression and realized his haste. He held her cold hands, explaining, "I know you're upset, but with the baby, you can't dwell on sorrow. Let's visit the old mansion to see family and relax." Amelia smiled faintly, saying nothing. At 7 p.m., the couple arrived at the mansion. Before entering, Lucas handed her a gift. "Your uncle said you and your aunt haven't seen each other in years. We should be polite." Once, she would have praised his thoughtfulness, but now she knew he just wanted an excuse to give his beloved a gift. She said nothing, stepping into the lively hall. Hearing the commotion, Claire turned and saw Amelia and Lucas. She froze, hesitating. "Who is this?" Amelia stayed silent, unsure how to respond. Lucas also kept quiet, but relatives chimed in. "Claire, you've been abroad 3 years and missed the wedding. This is Amelia's husband, Lucas, CEO of the Shen Corporation." Claire trembled slightly, shock in her eyes, but quickly composed herself, stepping forward to shake hands. They exchanged polite pleasantries like strangers, but Amelia sensed the subtle tension between them. She gave Claire the gift, simply saying, "Welcome back, Aunt. I'm only staying a month before returning to Paris." Lucas's face darkened, but Claire ignored it, happily unwrapping the gift. Her eyes lit up at the sparkling gem necklace. "You have great taste. I've wanted this for ages." Amelia noted their expressions. "Uncle picked it. He always has good taste." At dinner, Lucas barely ate, drinking heavily and busily serving Amelia. Relatives smiled approvingly. "Amelia is so lucky to have such a devoted husband." She forced a smile, staring at the beef and mutton in her bowl. Since pregnancy, the smell of meat had made her nauseous, and Lucas had previously eaten vegetarian with her for a month. But today, he'd forgotten, too busy moving seafood dishes closer to Claire, his aunt's lifelong favorite. By the end of the meal, Lucas was thoroughly drunk. Relatives worried about their safety and invited them to stay. Amelia called a maid to help him to their room. After washing, she turned off the main light in the bedroom, leaving only the small lamp at the head of the bed. After a while, Lucas opened his eyes in a daze, took her in his arms, and muttered, "Xingyu, you're back looking for me, right?" Amelia froze instantly, but did not correct his mistake. After a long time, she asked, "Then you? Who are you drunk for today?" "Just for you, Qianwu. It's always you. Don't you understand?" Despite being mentally prepared to hear these words with her own ears, Amelia's heart was torn apart. Now she understood why a person who had never drunk would use alcohol to kill his sorrows, afraid to show his true feelings so much when he was drunk. Her hands were clenched, her breath was short, and she struggled to break free. She locked herself in the bathroom for 2 hours and finally calmed down. By the time she came out, Lucas had disappeared from the bed. Amelia opens the bedroom door to find the voice-activated lights on the balcony off. She walked over on tiptoe and saw Lucas and Claire outside through the window. The night obscured their expressions, but his nervous voice came clearly. "You told me yesterday that you were not going back to Europe. Why did you change your mind? What about you? Why did you marry Amelia without telling me?" Claire's calm tone only provoked Lucas's anger and shattered what little self-control he had left. He gripped her hand tightly. "Why should I marry her? You know best. She looks like you, she's your family. With her, I can see you honestly without having to fly to Paris and wait downstairs for days just to see you." That's why he went to Paris for Claire. That's why he didn't answer the phone. Amelia's heart raced, her nails digging deep into her palms. "You're crazy," Claire whispered. "I've been crazy since you broke up with me. Don't you understand? I need you by my side, even if it's just a stand-in that looks like you. That's enough to give me peace of mind for the rest of my life." His naked pain left Claire speechless. After a long silence, she choked up, "Lucas, what's wrong with this for Amelia? 3 years of marriage, and a child is about to be born. Don't you feel anything about her?" Lucas sneered. "Claire, she's just a stand-in. How can I love her? All my tenderness is just because she looks like you. Our children were about to be born, and I named them Xinqing and Asterisk. Claire and Lucas's names are one. In this way, we can be connected forever." Asterisk note: the name has been adjusted to Lucas Claire or similar in the Western context, but the original Chinese pun has been retained. Amelia felt a chill, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Xinqingen, what a cruel name." She closed her eyes, remembering his greedy hug in bed and the care he pretended to care about when she was pregnant. She bit her lip and sobbed, all her strength gone. She leaned against the wall and dragged her tired body back to the bedroom, and the voices of the two faded away. Before closing the door, she heard Claire ask, "Aren't you afraid that Amelia will find out?" Lucas replied, "She'll never know. Even if she knew, she loved me too much and was reluctant to leave me." "Never?" Amelia touched her now flat lower abdomen, and a wry smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. "Oh, I will. She will shatter his cage and fly to freedom, never to look back." Lucas didn't come back that night. At dawn, Amelia quietly got out of bed, slipped out, and went home to get immigration paperwork. As soon as she finished, she received a call from Claire. "Amelia, can you accompany me to the cemetery today? I want to go and worship your father and sister." Since Amelia's mother died early, she didn't have much contact with her maternal relatives, so she and Claire weren't close to each other. The two were only 5 years apart, but out of politeness, she agreed. At the entrance to the cemetery, she saw Lucas's sports car. When he saw her, he hurriedly walked over. "Come to sweep the grave? Why didn't you call me?" Amelia stared at him. "You left in the middle of the night, and I didn't say I was coming." "How do you know?" Lucas took her hand and explained, "I had a stomachache last night, saw you in the bathroom, and went to the hospital alone. This morning, my aunt said she wanted to come and see you, so I went with her." A perfect lie. She just nodded and didn't speak. At the grave, Amelia choked up at the adjacent tombstone. Both of her loved ones had died. Claire noticed her tears and patted her on the shoulder. "Amelia, although your parents are gone, you still have Lucas. He will always take care of you. Your child will be born soon, and you will have a new family." Her tone was firm and suffocating, as if Amelia's fate was destined to fall into a loveless marriage. Lucas immediately chimed in, "Yes, I will take care of you and the child. Don't be upset." For Amelia, it's all empty mockery. His forever doesn't stem from love or duty, but from an obsession with another woman. She swallowed her bitterness and stared at the picture of her parents. "Yes, I will have a new family, but there will be no Lucas among them." After the visit, it began to drizzle. Claire and Amelia sat in the back seat while Lucas drove. In order to ease the tension, Claire proposed, "There is a new Western restaurant in Southtown. Let's try it at noon." Lucas immediately changed the subject. "The owner is Italian. It should be authentic." Their conversation transitioned smoothly from Western cuisine, to Scandinavian flair, and years of shared memories are clearly visible in every tacit understanding. They are like long-lost lovers, and Amelia laughs at herself for forgetting that they were once lovers, and their history is far deeper than her stand-in. Arriving at the restaurant, Lucas subconsciously handed the menu to Claire. She paused, then handed it to Amelia. "There are contraindications for pregnant women. Amelia, you order." Amelia picked a few dishes, but when the dishes came up, Lucas frowned. "These can't be eaten." "What about the doctor's instructions?" Claire glanced at Amelia's stomach quizzically. "Aren't you 4 months pregnant? Your belly looks smaller than that." Lucas leaned over to check and accidentally bumped into the waiter. The soup in the food truck spills, and he helps Claire stop the boiling soup, and Amelia is soaking wet, her legs burned in an instant. The pain hit, blisters popped up, and sweat ran down her cheeks. She clutched the tablecloth tightly and watched as Lucas took Claire in her arms and hurried away. Chaos erupted, and her heart sank. The waiter helped her outside, and she saw Claire and Lucas arguing. "I'm fine. You should go find Amelia. Your hands are burned. I'll take you to the hospital first, and then I'll come back." "Lucas, we're breaking up. You're married. She's pregnant with your child. You know she's never going to be as important as you." When Claire saw Amelia standing in the doorway, she was stunned, and her tone was full of panic. "Amelia, why are you here?" Lucas spun around sharply, his face pale, and Amelia had fainted. He picked her up and rushed to the hospital. Through the pain, Amelia heard Lucas say to the doctor, "My wife is 4 months pregnant. Be careful with medications." In the treatment room, the nurse gasped when she saw her flat lower abdomen. "For months? Are you sure? It doesn't look like." Amelia interrupted her weakly. "I had a miscarriage. Please don't say it. I want to tell my husband personally." The nurse, though confused, agreed. Without anesthesia, the pain of wound care was unbearable, and every second felt like being in hell. Amelia wakes up sweating profusely and almost unconscious. In the hospital room, Lucas kept apologizing and put his hand on hers. Her nails dug into his skin, blood and tears mingled, and she drifted into a staccato sleep. When Amelia woke again, it was late night. Through bleary eyes, she saw Claire's back. You're burned too. Go treat your wound now. I'll watch Amelia. No, I'm afraid she'll panic if she wakes and I'm not here. I'll go tomorrow. Claire's voice rose sharply. I said now. Lucas, don't play with your health. Lucas's frown instantly eased. He grabbed Claire's hand. Claire, admit it. You still have feelings for me. If you do, I'll leave everything behind. Let's start over. Claire flinched, yanking her hand back. Seeing her panic, Lucas smiled. Fine, I won't pressure you. I have all the time in the world to wait for you. I'll do as you say. Go treat my wound now. He strode out, brisk steps belying his earlier tension. In 3 years of marriage, Lucas had always been the composed, controlled, strong, dominant figure, to Amelia, coolly rational, even when angry or joking, always coaxed, coddling her like a child. She thought it was his nature, never guessing he could lose control, raging at Claire's indifference, euphoric at her concern, obeying her like a lovesick boy. Amelia stared, transfixed. She'd never seen this Lucas before. When she realized Claire was watching, she asked calmly, "Where's Lucas?" Relieved Amelia hadn't heard their conversation, Claire said, "Getting his wound treated. Tell me if you need anything." Though her legs still burned, Amelia shook her head. "I'm fine. Go rest." Claire stayed, fetching water and asking after her before daring to ask, "Amelia, did you hear anything before you fainted yesterday?" Amelia's hand tightened on the cup, but she met Claire's gaze steadily. "No." The lie was for both, easing Claire's worry and vowing to forget Lucas's words. Soon, she'd vanish from their lives entirely. After 10 days in the hospital, Amelia's wounds began to scar. Lucas stayed by her side daily, tending to her every need until he fell ill, burning for days. With 2 patients at home, Claire came to help, shuttling between cooking medicine and changing Amelia's dressings. Rest well. The fetal tonic will be served soon. Don't forget to drink it. Amelia nodded, then poured every drop down the toilet. Once she could walk, Amelia met friends for meals. After paying the bill, she passed a private dining room and froze at familiar names. "Lucas, we thought you were too busy for our reunion. Sorry we didn't invite you." "Don't be silly. If Claire's here, of course Lucas would come." Their campus romance was the talk of S University. Who doesn't remember? He bought tens of thousands of roses to propose on the football field. I still remember the songs he wrote for Claire. Amelia stood listening, picturing Lucas in a suit with a guitar, yet the image felt deeply foreign. These stories were about a 20-year-old Lucas in love with Claire, not her Lucas. Of course it felt disjointed. She smiled faintly, no longer interested, only to see Claire exiting the restroom. Amelia turned to leave, but Claire called out, "Amelia." She quickened her pace, but Claire grabbed her arm. "I know you heard them. Please, let me explain." They struggled as Amelia tried to pull free. Off balance, she swayed. Claire steadied her, only to lose her own footing and tumble down the stairs, blood pooling around her. Amelia reached for her, but a violent shove slammed her into the wall. Warm blood trickled into her eyes as Lucas's furious shout split the air. "If anything happens to Claire, I'll make you pay." He scooped Claire up and vanished, leaving Amelia in a haze of pain and darkness. When she woke, a doctor praised her strong willpower for avoiding a coma. Thanking him, she answered Lucas's urgent call. 10 minutes later, he burst into the room, panic fading to relief. "How bad are your injuries?" "The baby," he froze at her silence. "I thought. I'm sorry I pushed you without knowing the truth. Forgive me, please." From his guilt, Amelia guessed Claire had told him the truth. "I'm fine. The doctor says I'll recover in days." Lucas misread her calm as reassurance about the baby, reaching to touch her stomach. "You and Aunt were college classmates?" His hand hung midair. "Same college, different departments." "Why?" Amelia looked away. "Nothing. I saw you at the reunion." He cleared his throat, fleeing to buy breakfast. Amelia checked her calendar. 10 days left in the divorce cooling-off period. Freedom from this lie of a marriage was nearly hers. In the hospital, Lucas visited less frequently, dividing time between her and Claire. On discharge day, he drove her home, but left promptly after. As his car disappeared, Amelia received news from immigration. Her papers were ready. She canceled her household registration and ID, then returned home to pack, discarding couples' items, photos, and baby clothes. Just then, Lucas returned with a trunk full of luxury bags. "Baby, are you still angry? That's why you're throwing these away? I bought you new bags. Let's forget the past, okay?" If only forgetting were that easy. Amelia looked at the mountain of gift boxes, voice weary. "I'm not angry. I don't need these anymore." Lucas seized her hand, troubled by her distance. "What's wrong? Did I do something? Let's talk it out, please." Amelia stayed silent, unable to answer. Before Lucas could press further, his phone rang. "Lucas, come to the hospital. Your aunt collapsed. Doctors say acute kidney failure." Lucas paled, panic overwhelming him. Amelia snatched the car keys, driving them to the hospital. In the waiting room, Jiang family members underwent kidney matching. Only 27, such a young girl. Slim chance of a match with so few relatives, a doctor murmured. Lucas gripped Amelia's shoulders, desperate. "Amelia, get tested too." Her uncle protested, "She's pregnant." "No matching." But Lucas insisted. Amelia shoved him off. "What about the baby if I'm a match?" Lucas blurted, "We can have another." "She's your aunt. How can you let her die?" Amelia's eyes reddened, then she laughed bitterly, grateful she'd aborted the child. She walked into the testing room, not for love, but duty. 3 days later, no family match was found, but a donor had been located. Amelia tried calling Lucas, but he didn't answer. She went to his office, overhearing colleagues plead, "Donating a kidney to Claire? You're married to her niece. Think about Amelia and the baby." Lucas replied firmly, "I'd give my heart for Claire." "Amelia must never know. Tell her I'm in Europe." Amelia's hand fell from the doorknob. "So this is your love," she thought. "I'll vanish from your life. Bless your happiness." She booked a flight to Australia. The next day, their divorce cooling-off period ended. Amelia got her divorce certificate, placing it and the abortion papers in a gift box. At the hospital, she found Lucas staring at Claire through the VIP room window, eyes brimming with love. "When's the surgery?" she asked. Lucas turned, masking emotion with a smile. "In 3 hours. I have to business trip. Go on a business trip for a month." "Sorry, I can't stay." Amelia didn't expose his lie. "It's okay. I'll learn to adapt. Adapt to your indifference. To life without you." She handed him the box. Early birthday gift. Lucas gave it to his assistant without opening it. "I'll open it on my birthday." As Lucas was wheeled into surgery for Claire, Amelia boarded a plane. By the time he woke, asking for Claire, her flight had taken off, all traces of her life, phone, social media, photos erased. Post-surgery, Lucas rushed to Claire's room, ignoring his pain. Seeing her stable, he vowed silently, "A part of me will always be with you, even if we can't be together." Days later, Claire woke. Lucas called daily, doting on her every need. One rainy evening, he realized he hadn't heard from Amelia in weeks. Her number was disconnected, her WeChat account deleted. Panicked, he called the housekeeper. Amelia left 7 days ago. 7 days ago, the day of her surgery. Guilt and dread clawed at him. He remembered the gift box. "Bring it to the hospital," he told his assistant. As he waited, Lucas replayed Amelia's odd behavior, her coldness, her silence, her question about Claire. Did she know? The box arrived. Inside lay the divorce certificate, abortion papers, and a note. "Lucas, love was never a substitute. Goodbye. Lucas froze, stomach churning. The room spun as he realized Amelia had known everything. And now she was gone. He raced to the airport, but her flight was long gone. Staring at the departure board, Lucas clutched the divorce papers, finally understanding the cost of his obsession. "Amelia, where are you?" he whispered, voice breaking. But the only answer was the distant hum of airplanes, carrying her away from his lies, into a life where she'd never be anyone's shadow again. Amelia's plane touched down in Australia. As she stepped off, her first instinct was to reach for her phone and message Lucas, but she stopped short, remembering they were divorced, no more ties, no more excuses. Opening WeChat, she stared at the strange friend requests, a wave of unreality washing over her. It's really over, she thought, gazing at the divorce certificate on her phone. "I'm free." The taxi took her to her pre-booked home. The landlady, Mrs. Carter, greeted her warmly, noticing her solo arrival and inviting her to dinner. Amelia accepted, fetching an expensive silk scarf and tea from her luggage as a gift. The Carters had spent hours preparing colorful streamers, a festive banner, a spread of spaghetti, bacon pizza, and even fried chicken and noodles for her comfort. They gifted her a soft pink and white blanket, chatting late into the night about local life, their laughter bridging language gaps. For the first time in years, Amelia felt truly seen, not as a shadow, but as a friend. Back in her cozy room, Amelia collapsed onto the bed, eyeing the ceiling with contentment. "When will Lucas realize I'm gone?" she wondered. He's probably relieved. Now nothing stands between him and Claire. With Claire's gratitude for his kidney donation, they'd likely reunite soon. The thought no longer hurt as she drifted to sleep. In the days that followed, Amelia explored Sydney, attending solemn masses at St. Mary's Cathedral, losing herself in the vivid hues of the Art Gallery of New South Wales, weeping at a poignant Cinderella performance at the Opera House, and gasping as humpback whales breached near Stephensport. The vastness of the ocean and the warmth of strangers began to heal her. One sunny afternoon on a harbor cruise, she met Marie, a French-Australian winemaker. Their conversation over lunch in a sunlit bistro sparked a connection. Marie was fascinated by Amelia's insights into wine. "Join my vineyard," Marie urged. "Your palate is a gift. I'll teach you everything." Though hesitant, she'd never worked since graduation, Amelia saw sincerity in Marie's eyes and accepted. Meanwhile, Lucas was wheeled from emergency surgery, the doctor warning his assistant to keep him calm. Lucas stared at the ceiling, reeling from the divorce papers and abortion notice in Amelia's gift box. Gone. She's really gone. Back at their empty home, the absence of her things, their baby's clothes, her favorite mug, hit him like a punch. The assistant reported no leads on Amelia's whereabouts. "Stop searching," Lucas snapped, but hours later, he caved. Why does this ache so much? He wondered, staring at his reflection. She was just a substitute, wasn't she? In Australia, Amelia thrived. At Marie's vineyard, she mastered blending wines, learned to plate gourmet dishes, and even picked up conversational French. Marie became both mentor and confidant, boosting her confidence and salary. For the first time, Amelia lived for herself, not a lie. The landlady, Mrs. Carter, continued to welcome Amelia into family gatherings, often dropping off pastries. In return, Amelia cooked Chinese dishes and local specialties, inviting the Carters over. She grew more confident, laughing freely as she shared stories, a stark contrast to Lucas's past criticisms. "You're like a new person," Mrs. Carter praised. A month had passed since Amelia's arrival, each day filled with joy she'd never known with Lucas. At the vineyard, Amelia's focus was interrupted by a dashing man with ink splatters on his suit. "I'm Jesse, Marie's brother. May I pursue you?" he asked bluntly. Though flustered, Amelia admitted her divorce. "That's it?" Jesse laughed. I like you, not your past. His sincerity warmed her, and when he skipped work to take her to the beach, where they ran barefoot, chased waves, and shared sunset smiles, Amelia felt truly seen. Meanwhile, Lucas, a month post-surgery, visited Claire in the hospital. She noticed Amelia's absence and pressed him. Finally, Lucas confessed the divorce and Amelia's move to Australia. Claire, guilt-ridden, urged him to confront his feelings. You love Amelia. Go fix this. Days later, Lucas stood in Australia's vineyard, watching Amelia work, her hair long, styled, confident in her element. Amelia, I'm here to apologize, he called. She stiffened, turning to leave, but he grabbed her arm, pleading for a chance. Mrs. Carter, spotting the struggle, charged in with a watering can, shielding Amelia. He's my ex-husband, Amelia clarified, panic in her voice. Mrs. Carter swung the can, striking Lucas's arm and driving him back. Stay away, she warned, guiding Amelia inside. Alone in his hotel room, Lucas replayed their history, her joy at his proposal, in the rain, her laughter as they cycled across bridges, the way she'd blush when he teased her. How could I have mistaken her for a substitute? He wondered, heart aching. That night, Amelia cried in Mrs. Carter's arms, releasing 3 years of pain, love built on lies, the loss of their child, the betrayal. But as the sunset's warm glow filled the room, she felt a shift. I'm not the girl who needs his approval anymore. The next morning, Jesse found Amelia in the garden. You don't have to forgive him, he said, handing her a sunflower. But don't let his mistakes steal your light. Amelia smiled, tracing the flower's petals. For the first time, she believed him. Across town, Lucas boarded a flight home, leaving a letter at the vineyard. Amelia, I loved you long before I knew what love was. I'm sorry it took losing you to see it. You deserve the world. Maybe someday I can earn the right to give it to you. Months later, as Amelia sipped wine at a vineyard harvest festival, Jesse spun her around to the rhythm of a folk band. Her laughter mingled with the music, eyes bright with possibility. In the distance, a kangaroo hopped past the setting sun, a reminder that some endings are just beginnings. And though Lucas occasionally stared at her empty side of the bed, Amelia's new life, full of warmth, purpose, and a love that saw her soul, proved that even the deepest wounds could heal, given time, sunlight, and the courage to start over. The next day, Amelia arrived at the vineyard to find Lucas waiting, insisting on a tour. As she explained wine profiles with professional ease, Lucas felt a pang. 3 years together, and he'd never known her college major. How little I truly saw her. After work, Lucas intercepted her, begging for a meal. Before Amelia could refuse, Jesse and Marie arrived. Jesse stepped between them, towering over Lucas. She's my ex-wife, Lucas snapped, but Jesse's smirk held no fear. Ex-husband, Amelia corrected, slipping behind Marie. Leave her alone, Jesse warned, ushering Lucas out with a firm hand. That night, Jesse drove Amelia home, serenading her with a lazy, melodic tune. His earnest compliments, "You're the best ambassador this vineyard could want," made her blush, their eyes locking under streetlights. Lucas, hiding in the shadows, watched them laugh together, chest tight with envy. Inside Amelia's cottage, Lucas pleaded, "I love you, not Claire. Give me a chance." But Amelia's gaze kept drifting to Jesse outside, calm and resolute. "It's too late, Lucas. I don't love you anymore. Please leave me alone." Lucas's voice cracked. "Is it because of him?" "Even without Jesse, I wouldn't go back," she said. "He sees me." "You never did." Defeated, Lucas fled to the airport, drowning his pain in alcohol back home. Days turned into a haze of work and whiskey, his assistant finding him passed out on the couch, whispering Amelia's name. In Australia, Jesse knelt in a pedal shower, sliding a lily-shaped diamond ring onto Amelia's finger. "Marry me," he breathed, surrounded by cheering friends. She nodded, tears of joy mingling with the sunshine. 3 years later, Lucas lay dying in a hospital bed, late-stage liver cancer eating away at him. Claire rushed from Paris, hearing him murmur Amelia's name. She called Amelia, begging her to visit. "He's dying because of you," she accused. But Amelia glanced at Jessie, helping her adjust her wedding veil, and said quietly, "I can't go back." As Lucas slipped into a coma, he dreamed of a life that never was, Amelia scolding him for misplaced slippers, their daughter's first steps, family walks under sunset. "Shinro," he whispered, smiling. The heart monitor flatlined as Amelia said, "I do," in a sunlit church, doves circling overhead. Jesse kissed his bride, the vineyard's new wine Rebirth, selling out globally. Lucas's assistant found a half-drunk bottle in his penthouse, a photo of Amelia tucked beneath it. In the end, the only truth left was the love he'd realized too late, and the life she'd built without him.